Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Russell White. I'm the principal at Chinook Middle School, and we're excited to have this opportunity to share a little bit about us and to begin to help with the transition for next year for you and your students. This is my heading into my 5th year at Chinook, and have just been so excited to be part of this family. Just a little bit about myself. This is will be my 15th year as an administrator in the Bellevue School District, having had stops at Bellevue High School and Interlake High School prior to coming to Chinook. Now, if you joined us back in January, you got probably the 10,000 foot lens on Chinook, as we shared just a little bit of information. You got a chance to tour the school and visit with some of our classrooms and see some of our teachers. Tonight, and the purpose of this is to bring us down just a little bit closer. This will particularly is targeted towards those families who are going to be new to Chinook, as we share some information about what the transition from elementary to middle school looks like. And then, just so you know, what we'll be doing is we'll be doing something very similar to this just before the start of school, where we can talk a little bit more about the specifics of day-to-day as to what the school looks like and how to navigate that for you and your student. So, the way tonight will be structured is once we do some introductions, we have some information. It'll be kind of voiced over, so we'll kind of walk you through some content there. We do have some messages from a couple of our 6th grade teachers who want to share just a little bit about kind of their encouragement to you and what you can expect from them. And that will be about it. And we'll also give a chance to share about what we'll be doing to help support your students as they make the transition. So, with that, let me turn this over, and I'd like to introduce one of our 2 assistant principals, Ms. Kathy Myers.
Hi, incoming 6th graders. I am super excited to share with you a little bit before you come up to Chinook. Next year is going to be great, and no matter what it looks like, I'm sure you're going to appreciate and love everything about middle school. It's very exciting for that first year. I've been a middle school teacher most of my life, so 22 years as a middle school teacher. I love this age, and I love all the things that go with it, because you're not quite a high schooler, but you're not in elementary, so there's a lot of independence, a lot of great sassiness. There's some bad sassiness, but there's some good sassiness at this age, and we're just super excited to see you. This is my going into my 7th year as an administrator in Bellevue, and I was at Lake Hills for 2 years and then mostly at Chinook for the rest of it. And we're just super excited. I will be the administrator mostly for the 7th and 8th, but 6th graders, you are welcome to talk to me about anything at any time, and I will be happy to listen to any concerns you have. With that, I now pass it to our other awesome assistant principal, Mr. Clark.
Good evening, incoming 6th grade families. Thanks for coming tonight. Wish we could be seeing you all in person in the Commons at Chinook, but we'll make the most out of this situation. My name is Jason Clark. I am the other assistant principal at Chinook, and I will be the administrator for all of the 6th graders coming in. The way we break it up is that Ms. Myers and I split 7th grade, and then she has 8th grade. So I will be fortunate to welcome all of you and be the administrator. This is my first year. We're finishing my first year at home at Chinook. I have been in Bellevue. This will be my 13th year next year. I did 11 years at elementary school, teaching most of the grade levels, and then I was an instructional coach for 3 years at elementary, and then I finished my principal certification and got hired last year at Chinook. And I have absolutely loved middle school. It's been a great transition. It's a great school, great team. I was so fortunate to end up at Chinook. So we look forward to getting to meet all of you, hopefully in the beginning of the school year, and meeting your kids, because we definitely miss the students at this point in time, and look forward to hopefully things getting better in the fall. So with that being said, I am going to transition now to a PowerPoint, like Mr. White said, that has a good amount of information kind of covering transition to middle school and things like that. So if you bear with me for just a second, I'll get that going, and then we'll be started.
The focus of tonight's talk is to talk about the transition to middle school here at Chinook. To begin with, we want to make sure that you are familiar with the various office staff that you may be interacting with over the course of the next few years. We've already introduced the administration team, but again, my name is Russell White. I'm the principal at Chinook. Kathy Myers and Jason Clark are our two assistant principals, with Mr. Clark taking responsibility for the 6th grade this next year. Here you can see the variety of our office staff, who have a variety of different functions as they support you. And Harder is our office manager. Christine Keski is the assistant principal secretary. Mary Kate Uribe is our registrar and is often the individual that you will meet with first when you enroll at Chinook, as a person that you'll be working with if you move, if you change any contact information, and so forth. Kim Smith is our attendance specialist and will work with you to clear up any absences and to support you through that process. And Jamie Solid and Wong Jun Lee are our two school assistants. We'll answer phones, answer questions as you come into the office, and will support families in a variety of different manners. We have 3 counselors at Chinook. Marie Jones supports students and families with the last names A through G. Molly Mazer supports students and families with the last names H through O. Jamie Johnson supports students and families with the last name P through Z. At the middle school level, our counselors provide a variety of different services for students and families. The academic and career side, they support students who may be struggling at school in a variety of different ways, such as attendance, behavior, and coursework. They do classroom presentations. They assist students with course selection and scheduling for the next school year. They help students with high school and beyond plan that they develop in 8th grade. And they complete guidance lessons in the classrooms with students. On the personal and social side, they're involved with advocacy for students. They support emotionally at-risk students. They help students with social and emotional literacy and emotional regulation. And they help families with referrals for additional supports and services. Now at Chinook, we're really clear about our mission and our values and what we're trying to accomplish. As part of the Bellevue School District, our vision is to affirm and inspire each and every student to learn and thrive as creators of their future world. District mission is to serve each and every student academically, socially, and emotionally through a rigorous and relevant education that is innovative and individualized. As a learning community that values one another's humanity, we provide courageous support for an equitable and exceptional education for all students. Now for us, we have some key points. Collaboration, academic challenge, helping students to develop socially and emotionally in addition to their academics. We want to provide a safe environment. And ultimately, we want to prepare students for success in high school and beyond. We have some guiding principles at Chinook. All of our students are going to be familiar with them very quickly when they're with us. We call it Chinook Rocks. ROCK stands for respect, ownership, community, kindness, and scholarship. We teach this, we celebrate it, and we reinforce this in a variety of different ways. Now, the middle school transition has a variety of different changes for students and for families, and we want to make sure that you are aware of them as we head into this stage. First of all, let's talk about developmental changes in the middle school years. Your students are entering into a phase of lots of physical changes. Brains are going to be restructuring, bodies are going to be changing through puberty. Both of these take a lot of energy. This is why we know that young adolescents need lots of sleep. Our students are also going through social and friendship changes. Middle school is a time in which students are developing a sense of self and identity, trying to figure out who they are, separate potentially from who they think their parents raised them to be. We know that social emotional maturity is slow and oftentimes is slower than physical maturation. Students during this age group have a strong need to belong to a group, and peer approval is much more important than family approval. We also know that students at this age sometimes struggle with something called the spotlight effect. It's the phenomenon in which people tend to believe they are being noticed more than they really are. What's important for families is to know that this is the time to listen to your child, to hear what they are saying, and to understand their perspective. The structure of school also changes during this time. Students move from one class in elementary school to 7 classes in middle school, one primary teacher in elementary school to 7 teachers in middle school. In essence, our instructional model is very similar and identical to high school. This is probably the biggest paradigm shift that students go through in all of their years of academia. For us at Chinook, school begins at 7:45 every morning. School ends at 2:30 in the afternoon on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. On Wednesdays, we have an early release and we end at 1:20 in the afternoon. For academic grading, our teachers use a variety of different systems. Some of our teachers use traditional grades with percentages similar to what you see on the right-hand side. Students will receive an A, B, C, D, and F accordingly. Some of our teachers also use standards-based grading. While they may originally score things on the scale that you see in the lower right-hand corner, those also gets translated into letter grades ultimately on the report cards. But know this, each teacher has his or her own grading policy. This is their prerogative. And so students need to make sure that they learn how to navigate the expectations of each teacher. While we don't have established parent-teacher conferences, we do encourage families to meet with teachers individually if it's needed. Families also may log into Synergy Parent View to check their students' grades and progress, look for missing assignments, to make sure that they're ensuring that their students are staying on track academically. After school, we do offer some supports for students. Primary support that we offer is a program called Tutorial, which is open to all students after school, Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 2:30 until 3 o'clock. This is optional, and students may go to any teacher that they want to for a tutorial if they are choosing to stay. Students may use this time for homework completion, making up missed tests, or getting help in a class. If they choose to go to a class, we're going to ask that they stay there for the whole time, or if they need to visit another teacher, that they get a pass to move from one teacher to another. Outside of this, families are encouraged to continue to communicate with teachers and staff, such as the school counselor, for any concerns that are arising in the year. At Chinook, all of our middle school students receive their own laptop, along with an Office 365 account. Most of our classes will use Microsoft Teams and or OneNote to distribute content and assignments. When we reach the fall, we will talk more about this with families so that you're aware of what these platforms look like, how to monitor your students' work, and how to keep track of what they need to do for each of their classes. But we do encourage all families to be prepared to talk with your student about the use of laptops and technology at home, just as you would with a cell phone. Make decisions about when and where students will be able to access their laptop and complete work. Even though this is a school tool, we believe that it is really important for families to establish appropriate guidelines for students. One resource that we give to families a website called commonsensemedia.org, which has a variety of resources. There are a variety of different ways for students to get involved at Chinook. We offer a variety of clubs, and you can see some examples that are listed here. These change from year to year as student interests rise and fall. We also offer sports. Some of these are offered through the school coaches. Some are offered through a partnership with Jubilee Reach. All of these take place during an activity period that occurs between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the afternoons. You can also see that students have a variety of ways that they can engage with leadership opportunities during the middle school years. So as family members, there are some ways that we want you to make sure that you support your students. The first, which we've already talked about, is sleep. Help your students carve out enough time to sleep by setting consistent bedtimes and creating a no screen rule after a certain time. Talk to your students. Communicate with your students about your day and ask about their day. Strive to listen first, but model the process with yourself. Then connect. Teachers, school counselor, and other staff if you have any concerns or questions. Let your student take the lead whenever possible, but also acknowledge that this is still a skill that they are developing, and so be prepared to teach them and guide them in this process. We still invite parents to be involved with the school and with your students during this time. We have a wonderful PTSA organization, which you see here are some of the ways that this organization supports the school and your students. Kodiak Corner is a weekly communication that they provide about events and activities that are going on. They support a monthly principal coffee, as well as a quarterly multi-language parent coffee. They do engage with fundraisers to help support innovation for our teachers as they seek to provide new and increasingly better ways to serve your students. We have socials, as well as volunteer activities through the PTSA Walkabout program. As parents, you do want to be on the lookout for an email from something called Final Forms. This may look like junk, this may look like spam, but it is legit. Final Forms is the platform that we use for parents to provide information for students to participate in any club, in any field trip, in any sport, and any activity. This is a one-time registration process where you provide your information, and then throughout the year, then you can just confirm that your student has your permission to engage in a variety of different activities. So look for this email. It will be sent out periodically throughout the summer. Some of you may have already received it for next year. Now for our students, as they transition to middle school, we do have some next steps. First of all, on Thursday of this week at 1:30 in the afternoon, we will be offering a virtual student orientation. This is also through Microsoft Teams and will involve a virtual tour of the school. Your students will get a chance to hear from some 6th grade teachers, and we're going to have a Q&A session with some common questions that 5th graders have, answered by some current 6th graders so that they can give their own perspective about these questions now that they've been with us for a year. In August, we're planning a orientation called Where Everybody Belongs, shortened to WEB. This is scheduled for Thursday, August 27th during the first half of the day. The WEB program is intended to create a welcoming environment for all students and to aid in the transition to middle school, and its purpose is for students to help students. So we have 8th graders or incoming 8th graders that have applied to be WEB leaders. They will receive some training over the summer, and each 6th grader is assigned to a small group that has 2 WEB leaders. The WEB leaders will be trained to lead the orientation, and even if we need to do this virtually, they will have a special training for that. Typically, this has a morning assembly. The WEB groups will meet in classrooms throughout the school. We do tours. We have a pizza lunch for students. This is a great time, and we encourage you to make sure that you save this date so that your student can join us on them. Now, what might be different about next year? So far, we've talked about Chinook as if we're under a normal year. Recognize that next year might not be that way. And in fact, we won't know until probably August for sure what the year will be looking like. But here's some things that we can predict. We know that the district currently is in the process of developing a variety of contingency plans to be implemented depending upon the environmental situation. We might even be in a situation where we start with one way and we change to another rapidly. So we're going to be flexible next year. What you see on the right-hand side is what a sample middle school schedule looks like based upon this year. So for example, this spring, what students did is with their 7-period schedule, each class had one required class meeting throughout the week. Mondays had periods 1 and 2. Tuesday had periods 3 and 4. Wednesday had periods 5 and 6. Thursday had period 7. And then we had some optional learning labs later on in the mornings and on Fridays to extend, to provide some assistance, some clarification, and so forth. We do know that some traditional activities will be impacted next year. For example, we've already canceled our 6th grade science camp in October. This is a 3 nights, 4-day activity up at Camp Kyla. It really is kind of one of those significant events. We believe strongly in what it is, but we also know that in the fall, we're not going to be in a place that we can safely have overnight stays with a bunch of other students, not from your family unit, and be able to do that safely. We are looking into some possibilities of doing this in the spring, but we're going to have to wait and see if that's even going to be able to pull that off. We know that we have some overnight music retreats in the fall, and we've already said that we're not going to be able to do those. But our teachers have been working on looking at comparable activities and experiences for the students because we know that these are important for the life of the school year. So thank you for joining us tonight. I know this is a bunch of information quickly. When we do the web orientation in August, we also will have a parent orientation at that time, and we will provide typically a lot more specifics as to what the school year looks like, how to do various things, and so we're going to encourage you to join us at that time as we go a little bit more deeper into how to support your student at Chinook.
Okay, so I hope everybody enjoyed that. We actually, when we get done here, we will be posting this eventually to our webpage. So if you did miss anything in there, you will be able to go back and get that information. And as Mr. White said, we will provide much more detailed information when we get into the fall. That was just kind of a larger overview, and hopefully that got some kind of the basics answered as you're transitioning your elementary students up to Chinook. In a minute here, I'm going to transition over, and we've got a couple of teacher videos. These will be shown to your students, but we thought it might be fun for you to get to know a couple of our 6th grade teachers and hear a little bit of the information that they'll be sharing with your students on Thursday. So if you give me just 1 second, I will pull up those videos and we'll share those with you.
Hi kids, this is Miss Ponder, one of the 6th grade language arts teachers at Chinook. Some of you will have me next fall, whether it's online or in the classroom. We don't know that yet, so it's something to look forward to, something to prepare for. Even though it's June, we can start preparing for what's going to happen next fall. Please be open-minded. That's one thing that's very important in our learning process. Open and accepting of new ideas and new strategies, new people, new teachers, new ways of learning. So Some of the things that I'd like to talk about are some study habits, some challenges, and of course, the opportunity to make numerous new friends. First off, for study habits in 6th grade, one way to organize your time is to use a planner. This will help you identify when you have homework, for what teacher, what the due dates are, and also how to prepare for future quizzes or tests, or even large projects. And you can do this with either using a paper planner or even electronic sticky notes. So organizing your time by using a planner or calendar is a good thing. Another thing that is a good habit to have is just having all of your materials ready to get started, whether it's at home or at school. So computers charged, pens and pencils, paper, those are the things that we need in learning, and it's important to have. Challenges we'll have will be for all of us. What's going to happen if? What's going to happen if? Well, we can't answer all those questions, but we will let you know and we will help you if it happens. So it's always good to be informed. Listen to your teachers, listen to your parents, listen to district leaders, because by listening, they will answer questions and help calm any nerves or fears. Asking for help is something that you're going to have to practice with all of your teachers, whether it's for technology, class content, even understanding a question or a problem. And we can do that on computer or in class. You'll have many opportunities because we're here to help you. You're also going to be making lots of new friends from lots of different schools, even new friends from different cities, states, even countries. That's one great thing about Chinook, is that we have such a wide variety of cultures and languages that we can learn from. So I hope that you are open to meeting new people, open to working with new boys and girls in our classes, being prepared for 7 teachers, 7 classes. It's a new and exciting year. We're here to help you make it a new and exciting year, no matter what happens in our future. Because whether we're learning from home, on computers, or at school on computers, we're here for you. I look forward to seeing you hopefully in the fall. If you're not in my class, I will still be around Chinook to say hello and to welcome you. Bye.
Hello, future 6th grade students. My name is Mrs. Erickson, and I'm one of the 6th grade teachers here at Chinook Middle School. From my background, which is a picture of my classroom, you can probably guess that I am a science teacher, and I look forward to having many of you in class this fall when you start at Chinook. It's an exciting time for you as you transition from elementary school to middle school. And one of the biggest changes, of course, is that you're going to have seven periods, so 7 different classes every day. And it's really an exciting change because you get to have electives every day and you get to learn some great things in all of these different classes. So I hope you're excited about that change. My own children and also students that I've had in the past have expressed to me that they are sometimes a little bit nervous about having 7 different classes. And I can understand that. It's a big change and it can seem overwhelming. But I just want to reassure you that there are a lot of supports in place to help you adjust to everything new about middle school. So at the beginning of the year, we will spend a lot of time going through new routines, walking you through different things that will help you to be successful in middle school. So just a quick reassurance that there are a lot of supports in place. And 6th grade teachers, we're here to help you be successful. And so you can always ask if you need if you have a question, or maybe something tricky is coming up that you're trying to figure out, we can help you troubleshoot that. So another thing that I wanted to make sure I speak with you about today is what you can be doing at home to set yourself up for success in middle school. A lot of the choices you make at school, of course, will help you to be successful, but you can also be doing some things at home. And during remote learning, you probably have learned what works well for you as you're studying, what doesn't work very well for you while you're studying. And so be mindful of that as you're thinking through a routine for the fall. And I encourage you to be intentional about setting up a study routine. So thinking about, where's a good study space for me? Do you like to work away from other people in a quiet location, or do you like to be close to other people where you can talk through ideas? So that's my first piece of advice, set up a study space. The second piece of advice is check your classes every day. So when you get home, either make a mental kind of go through this list of each class, what you did and what you need to do. I personally am not very good at doing a mental list, so I like to actually go through the gradebook, the online gradebook, and see if there's any assignments I have, or my OneNote to check to see if there's anything I need to do. So that's my second piece of advice. Check your classes every day and then make your to-do list and do it. My third piece of advice, plug in your laptop after you're done with your homework so that it's ready for the next day. And my fourth piece of advice is to get enough sleep. So make sure that you're ready for those early classes the next day. But before you really think about those too much, I encourage you to just have a great summer. So I look forward to meeting you in the fall, and we're excited to have you join us at Chinook. Hello, future 6th grade students. My name is
So thank you for joining us tonight. This is the conclusion of our event. We want to just give you a little bit of information, maybe a little bit more than what you had before joining us tonight. Really, our goal is to begin the process, if you're new to middle school, to start thinking about what is this going to be like. As you've heard from Ms. Erickson at the end, we want you to enjoy the summer. That's going to be really important. I hope you heard message from both of our teachers. As much of a transition that this is, we are here to support you. We're here to support your students. We're excited that you're going to be joining us in the fall. I look forward to meeting you and your students. So thank you and have a good night, and we'll be seeing you soon.